heart attack. Fast fatal heart impact. Past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions. Fact, don't ask. Grab reactions. Jacked attack with every word. Then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused. Call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose. Pick a new submerged juice. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now. Y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now. Whenever we last left off, quite a bit of things have happened. In the last part, our four characters, Izuku, Katsuki, Izumi, and Katsuki, they encountered a version of Deku after being sucked through a book and into a different place. They didn't know where this place was. All they know is there was a giant tree made of light, there was no sky, and the floor, it was made out of pure darkness. It was somehow a liquid and a solid at the exact same time, and walking on it sounds like you're walking on water. Now, this was very alarming to them. And then there was actually where they met a version of Izuku who claimed to actually be Izuku Midoriya. And he had godlike powers. There was no other way to describe him other than that 3-letter word. And they saw firsthand what he could do. He manipulated this place like it was no problem. And they were just somewhat horrified. Bakugo, he learned quite a bit from talking to this man. So did Izumi. And there was actually Izuku and Katsuki. These two, yeah. Izuku was forced to see some worlds he lives in. Different versions of his, well, counterparts. He saw the way they lived their lives. And he experienced everything they have. And Deku, some of those worlds were very unsavory. Some were very painful. And feeling all of that all at once, it mentally broke Izuku. His mind just stopped. However, this version of Izuku, he put those pieces back together and sent him on his way. And Deku and Katsuki, they climbed out of a puddle. After, well, swimming out of what they presumed to be some sort of ocean. Now, this was very strange, and people, they were watching and asking questions, since these two, they are very much shaken by whatever they experienced. I mean, if you saw this on the street, these two, they're unresponsive whenever you try and ask them or just interact with them. Police would arrive and take them away. And then, you do actually have what happens next. They are given clothing, and then they are actually taken away by another organization. And most people who have interacted with these two, they are currently all under quarantine, since an official cover story has already been made and people have already started to die from being exposed to whatever these two may have been covered in. Now, with that being said, we actually do have where after being transported and officially put into different cells, Izuku and Katsuki, they have been able to somewhat try to relax and get more accustomed to how things are. And we do actually have where Katsuki, she's going to walk into Izuku's cell. And she's able to see him, her running over to his bed, and going to directly wrap him up into a hug. Holding onto him as Deku, he barely does move. He's still sitting there on his bed. He has his arms wrapped around his legs and he's just trying to think. He hasn't said a single word since he was brought into containment. And right now, from what they understand, Katsuki, she is the only one who knows anything about what they may have gone through. So a Foundation therapist has recommended this visit. And Katsuki, she's going to at least ask Deku if he's okay. And Deku, he does go to look over towards her and somewhat smile. Before he does go to bring his hands up and hold on to her. Katsuki at least going to hug Deku, and the scientist does exactly ask if Izuku would like to speak to them for a moment. And Deku, he does go to directly look up towards them, shaking his head no. And Katsuki, She's just going to sit down on the bed, as the scientist does ask her exactly if they can describe to them exactly what happened to them. And Katsuki, she just going to directly look towards Deku. And Deku, he just going to look towards her, shaking his head no. Um, I'm sorry. Listen, whatever you two have gone through, whatever happened to you two, we would like to get to the bottom of it. Do you have names, birthdays, information? And, well, I'm going to need to ask you this right now, but we need blood samples. We need to understand exactly who you are. I mean, you're clearly anomalous. You climb out of a puddle containing and full of dark matter, and you two are soaked in it as if it was water. Dark matter? Yes, Miss. Um, my name is Katsuki Bakugo, and this here is my boyfriend, Izuku Midoriya. Izuku Midoriya? Yes. And you're Katsuki Bakugo? Um, yes, that would be correct. Okay. Well, I am going to have to tell you two right now. A doctor will be in here in a few minutes. They'll take blood samples, and we will run you through a database, seeing if we can get a hit to see if we can find your parents, or reports or even files indicating anything about you two. For right now, though, your names will be good for a sweep. A sweep? Yes. I believe the information isn't harmful to mention, since you two, you've been very tight-lipped, but we're an organization that deals in strange things. Now, Deku, he does gonna finally say something out loud. He whispers the words SCP. And the doctor, he did watch Deku's lips move, and he was somewhat caught off guard. As Katsuki, she's just gonna ask him if he's a part of this SCP thing. Yes, exactly, that's classified information. I read your mind. You what? Izuku, you're not telepathic. I don't know. I hear things. I'm feeling things. There's too much going on. I don't know what to do. I hear a lot. I feel a lot. I'm seeing a lot. I'm just, yeah. The doctor just see the way Deku's acting. These are clearly signs of sensory overload. And from what he's seeing, this boy, he's going through quite a bit of it. Okay. Your name was Katsuki, correct? Yes, it was. All right. Your friend is in a very, very delicate state of mind right now. From what I'm seeing, he needs to be left alone and, well, just calm down himself. We can, I can recommend him letting, I can recommend you staying in here with him, since you seem to understand what he's going through. Or, no, this is new. Oh, right. Okay. I'm going to recommend that you stay with him. Foundation doctors will be in here soon, and we can start to understand everything going on. We'll do some blood tests, and then if you two are feeling up to it, we will be doing interviews. We would like to understand what is going on. Um, we can't really explain it a lot. You two crawled out of a puddle. In fact, that's quite normal here. Is it? Yes, actually. Um, I'm not authorized to tell you too much more about it, but we deal in things that aren't exactly normal here. So, once we understand your situation, we might be able to find a way to help you. But for right now, you two will be in our care. And your friend here, we will be trying to help him as much as possible. However, reading minds, that's clearly not normal either, so he might have to stay in Foundation custody. Are you, what? Yes, I'm sorry to let you understand this. Okay, well, I might as well tell you right now, that won't work, us being kept in your custody. I'm sorry? We aren't exactly from around here. That does not narrow things down. Was whatever happened to you to an instance of teleportation gone wrong? Not teleportation, but we were moving from one place to another. I'm sorry, I don't really follow. Now, Deku, he does directly look up towards the doctor and say it. They are not from this reality. They have been jumping through many of them. And they just met a god. And the doctor just stared at Deku. The way his eyes are, he's seen quite a bit. And, well, he has met a soldier who was a part of a very, very intense security detail. And right now, Deku, the way his eyes are, the way he's looking at him, that look is more intense than a soldier who has seen combat and who has dealt with anomalies that could end the world and even cause much mental distress. Now, with that being said, the doctor, he does get to step out of the room. Him actually going to at least ask for the lights to be slightly dimmed inside of it. Now, you do actually also have where he does request for telekill alloy. And right now the lights are dimmed in telekill alloy. That's being investigated. Since a telepath, that is somewhat of a red flag for right now, especially on this Foundation site. Now, with that, doctors would shortly come in afterwards, and they do ask to retrieve blood from these two. And right now there actually is Katsuki, who, whenever she does go to hold out her arm, and they do try to draw blood, they do find trouble piercing her skin. And that is where things do get a little bit more odd. They try to at least ask Deku to see his arm. And after he does go to hold it out, the same exact thing does happen. They try to pierce through his skin, and nothing happens. The needle just bends. Okay. So, clearly they are not normal. They are anomalies. And this does surprise Bakugo. And right now, she actually is asked if they can at least do a swab of their mouths, get saliva, and see if they can test that way. Since there will be residue, or at least DNA, from inside. Now, they actually do that, basically taking a spit swab and going to test their DNA that way. And right now, the Foundation, they are trying to understand what's going on with these two. Okay, high amounts of durability. What exactly does that mean? Okay, so if they're super durable, then that might mean that they are also strong. And if that's the case, containing them will be a little bit more of a task, along with the fact that one of them is telepathic. So that is also strange. Now, afterwards, you do actually have where an hour or so would pass, and Izuku, he has been able to calm down. However, Bakugo, she is still there with Deku. He's been rocking back and forth, and right now, he is just trying to understand how things are, as he actually does have the images in his head. Over 50 years of torment, and exactly bad things happening to him. There was only 10 years of it that have been decent. However, there's just the issue. There's none that have been positive in the way that he would like. And a lot of it was painful. Now, we do actually have where some people would come walking in. and they do go to ask these two to participate in a bit of a test. And the two, they would somewhat comply. And Bakugo, she is told about a lot. And Deku, he does just sit there and listen. Now, while these two are playing games with the Foundation, we do actually cut over to Bakugo and Izumi. The two, they found themselves in the very same water. However, Izumi, she felt cold. And whenever she tried to get up to break free of the water, there actually was where she saw Bakugo. Bakugo, he was laying down on top of the ice, and somehow he found a way to get out. However, whenever Izumi tried to bang on the ice to try and get his attention, he just was unconscious. And Izumi, she was trying to think. Her looking around at the water, as she saw something underneath her. It started to slither its way up. It was made of the darkness, and it tried to attack her. However, there was when she went to go look down, it really tried to throw out her hands, attempting to try and use her powers. However, whenever she did so, she was blasted outwards from the ice. And the moment she did go to directly smash back down onto it, she was laying on her side, gasping for air and trying to gain her bearing. And she felt odd. As whenever she did go to stand back up, she was producing steam from her body. She felt freezing, yes, but her body is producing smoke. And she ran over to Bakugo, her bending down to him as there's a blizzard all around them. And she was going to try and wake him up. Bakugo, he's clearly not responding. And Izumi, she does at least try to pick him up. However, yeah, that is the issue. Bakugo trying to drag him is not easy. And then trying to pick him up because of his size, that's a little bit harder. Since he can't exactly cooperate to try and get his body to be, well, even and easier to carry. Basically disputing the weight from one side to the other. Now, it would take her a minute, but she is able to get Bakugo off of the ground and start to move around. And yeah, right now their situation isn't too good. They're in the middle of nowhere in a very cold area. And these two, they need to find some place to go. Find some place to get to weather the storm. Now, Izumi would walk for almost an hour. And there actually is where she does start to notice something strange. There is where the ice, it finally does turn to snow. And she does get to walk directly into it. Her feet touching downwards into the snow, as she does burn some of it away. That is weird. Now, she does continue to walk, up until she does find a cave and walk inside of it. Her attempting to look around to see if there's anything they might be able to use. And Bakugo, yeah, he is still unconscious. Right now, he's very cold. And whenever she does try to check his pulse, it's faint. Izumi, she thinks that they might be able to build a fire. However, at the same time, she also just go to grab at her hands, attempting to try and use her powers, going to bring up her hands as a fireball does form on her hand. And she does just stare at that. These are flames. Now, Izumi, she actually is going to feel that. Her actually going to try and make the flames smaller and at least a little bit more compact. However, there is where the flame is going to go out. However, Izumi, she does going to still feel that heat. And right now, Bakugo, yeah, he is cold. Izumi, she does going to bring her hand down onto his shoulder. The intense heat actually being able to wake Bakugo up. Him somewhat going to jump forwards and cough out some water. And right now, he does just go to look around. As the strange sludge that just came out of his mouth, it does go to directly land on top of his chest. And he does just go to look towards Izumi, realizing exactly where they are. He felt the water engulf him, consume him, and he fell into the depths of it. But he's alive? Where are we? Hey, hey, it's okay. Are you okay? I'm cold. What's going on? I don't know. Alright? But listen, look. Her bringing her hand up in front of Bakugo and going to create the flame. Her asking him if he has his quirk. Hmm? Now, Bakugo, he does go to attempt to move one of his hands. However, he can't. He can't move his fingers. Now, Izumi, she actually is very disappointed to hear this. Her asking him if he can move his legs, wiggle his toes, anything. No, I can't. My neck, it feels stiff though. I think I can move it now. Bakugo, he does make an attempt. He's barely able to wiggle his neck, and Izumi, she doesn't find that to be very good. Okay, this is bad. Now, Izumi, she is going to sit down directly next to Bakugo. Her going to start trying to spark up her flames, however, trying to make sure she doesn't actually catch fire. And Bakugo, he does feel this heat. And right now, it is nice. It feels great compared to the cold water they were just soaking in. And Bakugo, yeah. Right now the two do go to weather the storm. They hunker down and wait for it to pass. And whenever it does, the two they do go to get onto the move. Now, by the time these two actually do go to leave the cave again, and the storm has passed, Bakugo, he is actually able to start moving his hands. However, Izumi, she does notice something strange. Bakugo, he can only move a few of his fingers, and they do look a bit shaky. Now, it does seem odd to her. However, she does just think that the cold may have affected his body. And she's just going to disregard that right now since, hey, if they jump again soon, then the cold won't really mean too much. Now, there is what they do go to leave, and Deku, well, yeah, this work. She does go to try and take Bakugo out of it. And Bakugo, while he is able to somehow to get back onto his feet, he's still a bit weak. Now, the two do start to hike in a direction, picking a way and trying to think about what to do. They need to just find some place to get to, some place they can stay, some place that they could get help at. Okay, so she has flames, and he has something else, right? Alright, so they need to just find a place to stay. Get there, and maybe they'll be alright. Now, the two do start to hike, and they do try to make conversation on the way there. However, it's quite apparent that the two, they are trying to dance around a very sensitive subject. And that subject just so happens to not be with them. Now, they don't really bring it up. However, the two, they both are thinking about it. Apparently, from what they may have heard, their counterparts are together. That's a bit strange. So, noted. Anyways, now, the two do eventually find a place. However, it's not what they expect. And right now, they're actually going to go to walk up to a gate and try to think about what to do. Since the two, they are caught by Foundation security. And when the two are found, Izumi just watches a few men who come running up to her. All of them with guns, and assuming she might have been a product of the Red Pool. However, the fact was, there's tracks behind them leading from the forest. And Foundation staff, yeah, they're a bit wary of what's going to be happening. However, the moment they do go to see her, she looks so strange. Through all the cold that is around them, her body is producing steam. And it's not just her. There's Bakugo. I mean, it's not coming off of him as much, but clearly he is warm. And I mean really, really warm. Now, the two are taken into custody. And right now there is where a call is made to the higher-ups. Since they're assuming that this is going to be an isolated incident, they can simply just write off, amnesticize these two, and possibly put them back into the public, since they may have just been in an accident nearby. Now, after that is all said and done, the two are taken in, and Izumi, she is looked at a bit questionably, and she is asked about her powers, to which she does make the mistake of revealing them. And after doing so, she is told about what's going to be happening to her. And Bakugo, yeah. While he is still weakened, he is told that he will be in Foundation custody for some time. And all four of these characters, they are right now isolated. And we do actually have back over with Izuku and Katsuki, who both of them, they have been questioned. And everything that they have heard and seen, it makes no sense. However, there is going to be the next weirdest thing, where Deku, he is currently sitting in his room, and somebody they do come to walk in. And Deku, he does see them. They're an armed guard with their helmet on. And they do go to walk forwards into the room to see him. Them going to sit down at the table that's been provided, and asking Izuku to please have a seat. And Deku, he does comply. However, the person is just going to stare at him confusingly, asking Deku a few questions. And Deku, he does try to inform them to a few things. They're not from this world, yada yada, they have weird powers and weird strange ones, all this and all that. However, why is this important? He thought he already gave enough in the interview. And the person, they do go to just bring their hands up and onto their helmets, going to pull it off of their head. And Deku, he just going to sit there wide-eyed and somewhat surprised, as he sees himself. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.